You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Hey, welcome to Best Coast Comics. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher, a.k.a. the Bronze Age Nerd, and I'm joined by another one of our hosts,
Bigby McFly, the comic guy.
And we have a surprise guest tonight. That's right, making a return to this time slot. We have Kyle, producer Kyle from the EXP. What's up, Kyle?
It's past my bedtime.
Hey, in fairness, you're the one that agreed to come on the show. It was even your idea. You wanted to come join the fun, right?
No, it's true. I mean, but for whatever reason, I thought this show was a half hour earlier. My energy drink wore off like 45 minutes ago.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
I
Well, hey,
took
it's never too late
crack
to double
on, I'm
down.
good to go.
Yeah, I've switched over to just sports drink.
Sports drink. That's good. I have an emergency cherry Coke, not a sponsor. But not yet.
But if Body Armor wanted to sponsor me, I mean, I did just spend $115 on Body Armor today. So, like,
oh, there you go. There you go.
Trav got me addicted to these Ghost Orange Cream, and I was like, I was giving him a hard time. I go, how can you drink those and lose weight? Oh, wait a minute, they have 10 calories. Okay, they don't taste like they only have 10 calories.
I'm a C4 energy guy. Ever since I was at New York Comic Con and they did the first taste is free thing.
Oh yeah,
and one of their flavors is cherry Starburst.
Oh wow.
You're like, all right, this tastes like a cherry Starburst, and it makes my eyes itchy. I'm in.
I'm glad. I pretty much quit the energy drink thing. When I was working for Microsoft Game Studios, I became addicted to the Rockstar Punched Zero Fruit Punch or whatever. Yeah, I'm glad I quit that because that was becoming a problem for me.
I only do it when it's like, well, I had 3 hours of sleep, worked a 14-hour shift, and be on the show.
You have a good excuse, as does Kyle. You guys are both hardworking, long hours kinds of guys. Speaking of people that are hardworking and in here doing awesome stuff, let's say hi to our chat. We got GTK Comic holding it down, I think, pretty much on every social media platform known to existence with his different combinations of emojis there. I always love to see it. Psycho Phil is inserting witty comment here. Psycho Phil, your witty comment for tonight is that comics are awesome again. That's your witty comment for the night. Big Ming McFly, the comic book guy, is not only in the chat but also on the stream. He's multi-talented, even though that's really probably, I'm guessing, one of the crazy EXP folks multi-chatting because I said it too. Comic Tropes holding it down. Comic Tropes, I was in his show last night. He was nice enough to tell people we have a show going on. He hangs out in the chat here. So if you're here from the Comic Tropes Pros and Cons show earlier, the weekly spinner rack, we really appreciate you being here. We appreciate Chris being here. And if you aren't going and watching Chris's weekly spinner rack show, go check it out. It's really worth seeing. Christina Payne, hey, what's up? Nice to see Christina in here as well. Did you get nominated for Best Comic Book YouTube Beard? So I will briefly talk about the CBC Awards here in a little bit. So that's a little teaser for you. He got robbed. Oh, hey, well, I appreciate that. I know I was nominated, but I didn't actually make the finals. What's up, Dismay? We got Jay here. Love it. Love it. Awesome Toy Box with Troy, another supporter for Heroes, which we're going to talk about here in a minute as well. Love to see you here, as well as Derek. So that's our first round of hellos. We'll do more as the show goes on, but I just wanted to say hi to everybody. Hello.
Troy was also at Terrificon, so got to meet him in person.
There you go. Yeah, so I am going to get the StreamYard giveaway tool running here tonight. We are doing a StreamYard giveaway. So before I put that up here, I just want to point out that there's a few places you might be watching this show. One of the places you might be watching is on the Bronze Age Nerd YouTube channel. You might be watching over on Big Ming McFly, the comic book guy's channel. You might be watching on the EXP or on their Facebook channel or their Twitch or their IG Live. It's probably the other place right now we're streaming to. If you're not watching on any of those places, I recommend going and following and subscribing to the other places because there's lots of great content coming your way from all those channels, I think, even my own. And I'd really recommend going and checking it out. Lots of great content on them, especially on the EXP Lots of fun content. And we are going to talk about some cool EXP stuff here in a second as well, too. Cool. I do have our giveaway running. So I'll make myself large, and we'll talk about that real fast. This is another one of those awesome trade paperbacks that's been donated for the giveaways by Big B McFly, the comic book guy. That's Conan, the Throne of Aquilonia. I hope I pronounced that correctly. From Dark Horse. Really nice trade paperback there. You can get a chance to win. As always, I'll throw in, my stickers, and I'll try to get some stickers from Big B in time to send out some too, and free comic books and trading cards and all kinds of stuff will be added into that as well. It's always nice to get a care package from us. We definitely load them up. But that's your prize. All you have to do is do hashtag Conan in the chat. Hashtag Conan in the chat for your chance to win that at the end of the show. Cool. Well,
I have an embarrassing Terrificon story.
Oh, was it about Troy?
No, it's about me getting in.
Okay.
I just first time wearing the Big B McFly shirt, get on the elevator, going down to the con floor, and a lady looks at my shirt and goes, "Were you in Back to the Future?" I was like, well, I have to give her some nerd points for the McFly thing, but
yeah,
half of me wanted to say yes.
That can kind of be a
you should have just been
compliment.
like, "Yeah, my name is Tom Wilson."
Biff's changed a lot, huh? So one of the things that I wanted to discuss, and I'll do this right now before we move into the kind of juicier topics, but I did mention that we're streaming over on the EXP, which is awesome. Best Coast Comics, that's kind of the other home for it over there as well. But one of the things that we have for you guys to check out over on the EXP, and maybe Kyle will be able to talk about this a little bit as well, is the survey that I'm about to paste into the chat. And I'd really appreciate everybody going and taking a minute to fill out the survey, because it's going to give you a chance to give your feedback to the EXP about some of the things going on over there. And some of that stuff is very important. They really want to hear about it. Kyle, anything else we should know about that EXP survey?
Well, it takes like 2 minutes, just because it's like 13 questions, and some of them you have to type things. I tried to not make you have to type things, but some of the questions you couldn't answer without typing things. And I know how much I hate when I have to type things on a survey. So the deal is, and it's not set up right this minute, so wait until after the show is over, because it will be then. If you fill it out, you get a free download of Vampirella #1.
Ooh.
From 2019 by Christopher Priest.
Nice.
So the portal for that keeps crashing because people keep filling out the survey more times than the portal is set up to allow for downloads. So I have to keep going in and redoing it. So I just found out it crashed as I sat down to get ready to do the show tonight. So your boy gonna have to fix it when he gets home, and has access to his laptop. So I will get that done. But yeah, so the deal is this is, and I said this in a letter that went out to our mailing list. If you go over to the EXP and hit subscribe, and you go over to theexplive.com, sign up for our mailing list, you'd have gotten this email already. We are forecasting the next, 5 years, but really next 18 months on the experience. And the deal with that is, normally I just do it from what y'all say in the comments and what's in my head and our original business plan for the experience. But we're to the point now where some of those things they've either come to fruition or they're not technically possible at current, right? As much as I want to do a everyone in one place D&D live play show, no. I don't want to be around people that long. So no, I'm kidding. We're not to that point yet. So finding out about other things people want and what they're into. So I've come to you guys looking for some of that help. And so if you fill out that form, that'd be hugely helpful. And our friends at Dynamite were nice enough to to donate a free download of Vampirella #1 by Christopher Priest as a thank you.
Dude, that's awesome. I wasn't going to take the survey because I didn't want to muddy the waters, but
yeah, don't, because you're gonna have to you're gonna have to help me break down the data, and I just send you the download information.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, I'm with that. I'm with that. Did have a bunch of new people jumping in, by the way, and I just wanted to say thank you to those folks. Yeah, a lot of new people jumping in, and I really appreciate that. Remember, hashtag Conan in the chat before I move on to other topics, because you will get a chance to win a prize pack from us, which is always loaded with a bunch of extra goodies, but it's at least going to have this Conan Throne of Aquilonia trade paperback creation.
That foil trade dress. That's really cool.
Yeah, the spot foil there is really nice. So just to kind of give everybody the preview of what we're going to talk about tonight on our main topics, really, honestly, kind of a light set of topics, which means in the chat, you can point out topics and maybe we'll talk about those as well tonight. But for the most part, the big topic we're going to get to here relatively quickly is the topic that came up because Mark Hamill had a sign up that kind of went viral in our community for his price on autographs and signatures. And so we're going to talk about artists that charge more than others and creators and celebrities that charge more than others for autographs and for commissions and things like that, and kind of that phenomenon. And we're going to get into the weeds on that one a little bit. Honestly, we're going to get into like a real conversation about that. But before I do that, I just want to give you guys that preview of the main topic for tonight. We are going to get to it and a couple other small bits of news. There is one thing that I really want to give an update on, and it's something that we're going to give an update on every show between now and November. Because we are a channel that's going to be talking about Heroes for Heroes quite a bit. So I wanted to give a little quick update because that campaign has officially begun. And so here is the official campaign page for Heroes for Heroes. If you're not familiar, this is a charity that I have done the last couple of years. This is the third year, and it is a charity that 100% of the profits of like all the donations from the charity auction and things that are going to come in through it are donated directly to Mission 22. I'm going to paste that link into chat now so everybody can get a chance to go check out that page, bookmark it, share it. Right now, we actually have had our first few donations come in, so we're at $250, which is amazing. That's awesome to see us off to a good start. So I'm very, very excited to see that with 4 people that have donated so far. And in this page, you can kind of see up to date, year to date before this campaign started, we were at almost $9,000 donated for Mission 22. We've had lots of people, as part of this. Jim Starlin's now part of it. Arthur Adams, Ron Garney, Ivan Tao, Trish Forstner, the EXP, Dynamite Comics, Dynamic Forces, Kyle, Big B, just so many different companies and artists and creators. It's going to be really awesome to grow that community for this year. The last thing I wanted to say is I know a lot of people have been asking how they can help. And I've been doing something a little different this year, and I'm building something called the Coalition of the Giving. Kind of a cheesy name. That's fine. It's what I came up with. But it's basically for people that are looking for some way to help that isn't donating items, which, by the way, you can also reach out about doing that. Or just any way they can kind of help. Sharing posts, bringing their ideas forward, because people have already had some amazing ideas. So there's a private IG chat, which if you want to help, you can be part of. All you got to do is hit up me. You could hit Big B. Both of us could get you in there. And that's kind of a planning committee. We're talking about, hey, these are posts or these are streams where we're discussing Heroes for Heroes, or, hey, I'm going to a con. Which creators should I talk to? Because of some of the people that are in there already, we got some signed items from Brian Posehn this last weekend that are going to be coming in for donation, which is really cool. I've been hitting up a lot of people here. I have something in the works with Tyler Main. We'll see what the level of contribution there is from that. But I've had a conversation with him today. I'm going to Rose City Comic Con here in a couple of weeks. We're going to have even more stuff going on with that. Comic Trips is in the chat. He's donated a sketch that's coming up for Heroes for Heroes. All kinds of fun stuff. Kyle has some stuff in the works for Heroes I've seen that is going to be really cool.
Like I already have. I'll just tell people. I mean, I've got at least. It's probably between $250 and $300 worth of Vampirella and Dynamite like art books. Vampirella, the original art books. I've got the Spanish Vampirella artists. Big oversized hardcover art books, plus some other stuff that I haven't told Bronze yet that I'm still waiting to completely nail down with the people responsible for those things and whose money I will be giving away. So I need to make sure that that's kosher. But hopefully we'll have some killer turtle stuff like we had last year, and maybe even some other funness that I am trying to wrangle on my own.
So, right on. And we very much appreciate that, folks. There's all kinds of different ways to help. Again, real fast, that's the campaign page that I pasted into chat. If you follow my social media, you will find tons and tons and tons of references to Heroes for Heroes if you're looking for how to get started. The one thing I will ask everybody to do, in addition to all the things I've asked already, this is another free way you can help out. I started an official Instagram account for Heroes for Heroes. It's Heroes for Heroes Comics. Unfortunately, Heroes for Heroes was taken. So Heroes for Heroes Comics. Follow that account on Instagram. You'll see the official logo and all that stuff on it, except no substitutes. And I'd really love to get some followers on there because it'd be nice to transition most of the promotional stuff to that source. That would be really cool. So go ahead and follow that. Share it out if you'd like. That would be amazing. All right.
To your coalition of giving, COG, get like a gear.
That's actually not a bad
they
idea.
All work together,
I like that. I like that. Could put a wrench in the middle of it,
Yeah, that would be cool.
Mods, I don't know. That's fun. Like Awesome Toy Box. He's part of that group. My video tomorrow has the link for Heroes at the end. That is so cool. I really appreciate that. And hey, you know what? Speaking of those wrenches doing work, and speaking of comic book community and nominated channels, give it up for K-pop. For K-pop, she's nominated for several different categories, as is Comic Tropes and a few other people that have been in here. I appreciate that. Comic Journey as well. So, but she dropped the link for the Instagram account is the original reason I brought up that comment. So yeah, real fast, I guess before we talk about the signature thing, should we talk about Comic Book Community Awards just really quickly? Anybody have any thoughts on it you want to share?
A ton of people that I know got nominated. So
it's cool. Yeah. It's cool seeing channels. I think there's a lot of channels that are really deserving that I was happy to see get nominated. I was, I'll be completely honest, and I have no one to blame but myself, but some channels I was really hoping to see get nominated that didn't. I say, I'd love for Best Coast Comics to be in there. That'd be great. I'd also love to see the EXP in there next year. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we can, and there are, by the way, a lot of other channels too. I'm not going to single anybody out, make them feel bad for not seeing them in there. I know they probably already wish they were nominated, but I'm going to try to do a good job of promoting those channels for next year so we can get those people in there.
Yeah, no, that's it's. I messaged you and I said, I'm not one to politic for that kind of stuff. It's not. I don't care. I want to get nominated. I can't. From the EXP perspective, we would love to be nominated. We'd love to be finalists. We'd love to win some stuff. But if I stop to think about that stuff, the ADHD paralysis that will come from that will mean we make no more content. It's so congratulations to K-pop and to our friend Rock and Robbie over on Pop Culture Philosophers and a ton of other great channels that I watch all the time who got nominated for stuff and who are finalists for stuff. I'm so happy for y'all and I hope you win. But next year, I'm going to hire some people just to make sure we get nominated for stuff.
Yeah, I know. Rock and Robbie, he might be a good guy to talk to. And that K-pop, she seems to know what to do too.
Yeah,
I'll talk to her as well.
I'm excited to meet K-pop in person in 3 weeks. It's gonna be fun.
Nice. No, I'm excited for you two to meet. That's gonna be really fun.
That'll be cool.
My little quick thoughts I'll throw on the end of it are I see and I totally understand this. I've said this pretty much every year of the Comic Book Community Awards, which by the way I feel like I can talk a little bit about it. I did win 2 of them a few years ago, so I'm in the winner's circle. My thoughts are if you don't like the process, if you don't like what's happening, if you're upset channels didn't get nominated, just get out there, vote, campaign for those channels. Don't assume that your favorite channel is going to make it in. Actually go out there and convince people to go vote for them, and or just expose them to that channel so they want to vote for them. That's the best way to make change happen in that category. And I know they're very controversial. There's a lot of hurt feelings around it every year, and I'm sorry to those people that ever need that shoulder to cry on. You're always welcome in my DMs.
I got all wound up in that last year, and I was just like, I had some people message me. They're like, "Oh, you didn't get nominated this year," and I was like, "It's okay." And I said, "You know what? It's reward enough that you guys watch my content and comment and talk to me. I mean, that's reward enough."
Right? No, so. That's exactly it. If we had to win the awards to get people to show up in the chat, then I would care a lot more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is the win for me, seeing all the names in the chat pop up and
right.
that kind of stuff. And
mm-hmm.
I was watching CJ's video the other night and now I'm talking to CJ in the chat. That's the win.
Yeah.
At the end of the day for me. So, but I do like hardware.
And the statues have lights in them.
I have a whole shelf over here of awards I won in radio and TV. I need an award from YouTube. That's all I'm
There
saying.
you go. There you go.
There you go. All right. Well, hey, we again, congratulations to all the nominated channels. I do want to make sure, like I said, it's kind of a relatively light week. We do have a few tiny news stories that I'll get to. Love to hear everybody. As we're talking, let's hear your suggestions. I'll save those comments for later. If there's any news you wanted to talk about that we don't cover already this week, but this isn't really news so much as it is something that kind of entered the cultural zeitgeist, if you will. And I think that it's something that we should definitely take a minute to talk about. And I'll bring up a site that had kind of a photo of the picture. It's also in the thumbnail. Here, it's Fandom Wire. Just got to give me a second to open this up. All right, so this is what we're going to be talking about. This is just one site that I grabbed. I like to kind of rotate the sites in that I grab this kind of stuff from. There was plenty of conversation that happened when this Fan Expo display kind of went viral from a Twitter account. And essentially, I'm actually going to go to that. It's this tweet right here. See, can I make that a little bit larger? There we go. So this My Time to Shine Hello at My Time to Shine Hello on X. I'm a big fan of Mark Hamill, but I wouldn't pay $400 to $700 for anyone's autograph, not even for Sydney Sweeney. Yikes. Because right here, Mark Hamill's autograph prices were taken from his booth table. He's asking for an autographed 8x10, $400 each. Premium, which I don't actually know what that entails, $500 each. Bulky, $700 each. I assume that means like lightsabers or toys or stuff like that, maybe. I'm not 100% sure on that. But the point really comes down to even just an 8x10 being $400 is the comment that I saw people gravitating towards with this and making, lots of different comments about Mark Hamill, comparing it to prices of other actors. I saw Hayden Christensen who's mentioned here, William Shatner, who's actually also mentioned here, Charlie Cox, other people mentioned that had lower prices for their autographs. So before I get my thoughts on this and dominate the conversation and all that kind of stuff, I'm actually curious, by the way, in chat, let us know how you feel about this. Let's start with Big B. Big B, what are your just kind of gut reactions to this when you saw it first?
I mean, it's up to the person. Like, how many people are they going to be mobbed by if they don't charge at least a certain amount? And also you want to have some value to your name. So I get that, right? And like I'm going to switch from Hamill to Jim Lee, which I'm not disparaging Jim Lee. I love Jim Lee. Him charging a huge amount for sketches and whatnot. He doesn't have the time. He's running freaking DC Comics. He's got, a ton of other things to do. And he's trying to fit people in, but he has to charge a certain amount to make it where he's not just totally annihilated by requests. I mean, so I kind of.
Oh, I'm losing your audio. I don't know if it's just me.
No, I lost him too.
Yeah, you might need to fix your headset real fast, Big B. All right, while he's working on that, he's probably going to have to unplug it and replug it in. He's seeing it now. While he's doing that, can you maybe kind of offer your quick thoughts, Kyle?
Well, so there's a couple of things happening here. First, when I saw the tweet, I had to look up who Sydney Sweeney was, which is an evidence of, like, when I saw her face, I'm like, oh, okay, I know who that is now. But I don't know who these people are. So it's an interesting thing to have that comparison. But for me, at least, I came up going to sports card signings and autograph sessions there. And I can remember in the late 90s paying $100 for Eddie George, who, if you're not a sports ball fan, won the Heisman Trophy, played at Ohio State. I'm in Ohio, so premium. But then he was drafted like number 1 overall to the Tennessee Titans. The first year they were the Tennessee Titans, or it was the Houston Oilers at the time, actually, that would become the Tennessee Titans. Anyway, and not thinking a thing about it, right? Like, that's what it cost. The thing that I want to know, and no one seems to have an answer, and I've asked people who are at Fan Expo, did Mark Hamill know what he was charging? And because the reality is that I've also worked with a lot of conventions. I'm working with Monroe Comic-Con right now. I've brought in celebrities and other people to conventions. You start talking to their management and their representation and their lawyers and their agents and whatever, and all of a sudden there's a number that they have to get paid to show up. And the convention is on the hook for that number whether they earn it or not. So they have a minimum or a guarantee or whatever they call it that they have to make. Well, the convention wants to make money off of that signer too. So was the number for Mark Hamill $100,000? So the convention knows they have to charge minimum $200 a signature to make that digit. And then because they want to make money, they're doubling that price, and that's where that $400 comes from. In which case, the problem isn't Mark Hamill or Mark Hamill's management. Because $200 for your signed lightsaber from Mark Hamill, who, by the way, will talk to you and take a picture with you for that price most of the time, is not unreasonable, I don't think. If the convention is marking it up, that's on Fan Expo. And I'm not... If you have business with Fan Expo, I do not speak for you, but Fan Expo is... I will never attend another Fan Expo show so long as I live. Because of the way they've treated myself and friends and creators I know at Fan Expo Chicago and Fan Expo Cleveland and Fan Expo Columbus and many other shows I've gone to. They are a convention that is in it not for the fandom, but for the profit. So, again, I don't speak for anybody else who has business with Fan Expo. You may have had a good experience, and you may be doing well with them. But for me, I think the problem with that photo is that it's not transparent how much of that is Fan Expo going, well, we know Mark Hamill's going to be a big draw, so we want to get our cut. We want our taste.
Makes sense.
So, Big B, I would look for... I'd love to hear what you were saying before, man.
Yeah,
and how much did I get through before I...
Well, hold on. I'll let you finish in 1 second. I just want to say one quick thing. Lots of great comments are rolling through chat. I've saved all the ones I think are relevant, and we'll definitely get to those after we kind of have our little round table here. So don't worry, we'll get to those. All right, Big B. So we were... oh, boy, what was the last thing you said before you started cutting out? I'm blanking right now. Sorry.
You were defending Jim Lee's pricing.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. He's a very busy man, and he's only got so many slots, and he's going to be overrun by. And again, like you just said, he may not be the one setting all that stuff. It might be the organizers too. But who knows? I mean, hey, shout out to Terrificon. They had the surprise Keanu Reeves signing for free.
Right. So that was the other thing I was going to bring up, right? A few years ago, I brought Ming Chen, who, on the level of celebrity, Mark Hamill,
right?
Ming Chen,
right?
I love Ming. He's one of my best friends in this business. He's a great dude. Ming is a different class of celebrity. But if we'd have gone through Ming's manager, it would have cost a certain amount of money to bring him in.
Mm-hmm.
But when you could just text him and be like, hey, man, what would you charge me to come into Monroe? And he goes, a couple of cases of Verners and $50 a day for beer. Yeah, okay. I can make that happen. And he's like, yeah, it's Monroe Comic-Con. It's at 45 minutes from where my parents live. I'll just borrow their car. I don't need a hotel room. I'll just stay with them and borrow their car. Like, my mom will cook for everyone after the show is over. There you
go.
It's but because I went through him and not his management, all of a sudden it was a much more fan-based interaction, right? I didn't have to try and recoup my money for having him out to the show because it didn't cost me much. And that's the difference, right? Like if Mark Hamill wants to come to your show and he CJ, you know what? Why don't you have your face come on the channel and we'll let me smack it?
Let's give you this.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So there's this level of when you get the actual creator, you get the actual artist, you get the actual celebrity, and not their management. I'll give you another example. Last year, I was doing the International Edgar Allan Poe Festival, and we wanted to bring in Christina Ricci. So we emailed Christina Ricci. We had a contact who knew her, put us in contact, and we were talking to Christina Ricci. She really wants to come out. She's very excited about the possibility. Well, then the lawyers and the managers get involved, and now it's $100,000 to bring Christina Ricci to a 2,000 person literary convention just because we were celebrating the Addams family.
Is that a real number?
It's a real number.
I mean, and you know, my eyebrows internally raised a little bit at that number. I mean, you'll kind of get, you know, here's a preview of my thoughts on it. If that's what they charge, it's what they charge. But like you said, it's all of a sudden how they're getting to the show and through what channels versus just their appearance on by themselves.
Christina was, you know, a few grand, you know, I think 10 grand was what she was saying, and first class flight and a suite at a hotel. Okay, fine. That's not unreasonable for a celebrity of that stature.
No.
You know, it's actually very reasonable.
Yeah, that's really reasonable.
Management and everything else. $100K or she doesn't get on a plane.
Right. Well, you got the lawyer's got to drop a contract, right? So he's got to get paid for that.
How are we going to pad our profits without adding in all these extra fees?
Right, without getting over on a non-profit organization.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, I gotta give it to some of the guys at the shows though. A lot of them are just a donation to a charity. You know, in a no minimum, just throw $1 in there and get an autograph.
Yeah.
I mean,
my favorite story.
Cool.
I did a show with Glenn Fabry, who did covers for Preacher and, you know, has been a prolific cover artist. He was set up from, I would say from me to Bigby, but that's an entire country. But basically from me to Bigby on screen from the bar. And his deal was, I'll sign 10 books if you buy me a beer.
Oh, wow. There you go.
That was his whole thing. Buy me a pint and I'll sign 10 books. More than 10 books, you got to make a donation to Hero Initiative.
There you go. There you go.
Sign me up, man.
For sure. I bet he got a lot of beers.
He did.
So I'm gonna give. Yeah. By the way, actually, I was gonna give a shout out here because Dr. Plagueis dropped into the chat, and I have, speaking of Heroes for Heroes, we were talking about that earlier. Dr. Plagueis was kind enough to do a run of stickers for Heroes for Heroes. It'll be going out with prize packages, also with all the free things we ship out or all the packages we ship out to help kind of spread the word about Heroes for Heroes, and business cards, which is going to significantly help me when I go to cons.
I was so tripping over my tongue trying to.
Well, it just like it gives them a contact piece of information. It gives, without me having to handwrite something out or write it on the back of one of my stickers or something like that. He's donating those for the cause. Really go check him out if you want any sticker or print work kind of stuff done. He's done Big B shirts and stickers. Obviously, he does business cards, a lot of different kind of print materials. I cannot recommend him enough based on the fact that he's being awesome and helping me out. Also rushing that order so I have it in time for Rose City, which is nice.
He'll even do some graphic design work. I had that Swamp Thing drawing that I did, and he mocked that up with the Big B McFly Swamp Thing logo and everything. I mean, I'm not hoping I'm not speaking out of turn for you there, Dr. Plagueis, but he's a great talented man, and he's got a lot of other things that he can do for you other than just shirts and stickers. As we're starting to find out, he can do all kinds of things.
Absolutely.
Hey,
so Kamikaze in the house. Lots of awesome people here. Really, really excited to see everybody popping in. I'm going to give my thoughts real fast. I'm going to kind of sum them up. After that, we do have to take our first break, and we're going to do that here really quickly. But I did want to give my thoughts before we get into your comments about everything we're saying. We kind of add some context to those different comments you guys have put in the chat. So I'm just going to say, like, for me, my gut reaction to this is that any creator can charge whatever they want. Jim Lee can charge what he wants for a sketch or a commission. Mark Hamill can charge what he wants for an autograph. Of course, all those different hands in the cookie jar do kind of inflate those costs. But that's, if you're going to a con, you don't have any control over that, really. That's just what's presented to you. Some of these people go to the show expecting to meet this guest. And I'll say in a lot of cases, there's somebody I'm planning on going to go see at Rose City Comic Con. There's no information out there for what photo opportunities or signatures are going to cost for that celebrity. I'm not going to throw them under the bus by saying who it is, but that's the only reason I don't normally do the celebrity thing, but it's kind of one that I'm willing to make that exception for. And I'm a little in the dark. I just have to go and hope that they're charging a fair amount, because I'm planning to be there just for one day, just for that event, because it's the only day they're going to be there. And so it's one of those things where it's a little tough sometimes when you're at the show waiting to meet the person. But all that said, my main point about this is with this Mark Hamill signature and everybody freaking out about it being, this X dollars. Here's a little context. In 2017, Harrison Ford was doing a signing event. And I found some people talking about this on a Reddit post. He was charging $800 for a signature on a picture through the signing event. Posters being signed were $1,200. So it was a sliding scale. And several people are talking about that too. And that was in 2017. So context matters. Also, Mark Hamill's not out there charging the most from a Star Wars actor.
But Mark Hamill is signing a lot more than Harrison Ford.
No, but that's my point is that there's factors that you have to weigh for all this stuff, right?
Right. I think $1,200 for Harrison Ford, knowing that he signs once every 10 years or something, I can understand it. I'm not going to pay it, but I can understand it.
But if you're a fan and you really, really want it.
Right. And but I've seen Mark Hamill at 6 shows in the last 5 years.
Right.
It's like people who paid a lot of money for Stan signatures. Rest in peace, Stan Lee. But I'd go to 8 shows a year and see Stan at 6 of them.
Yeah.
It ain't worth it at some point.
But there was a time back in the day where you could just pay, like you said, airfare and put Stan up and he would come out and do a signing.
Right.
So
and so, like I said, it turns into this. What is the supply? Like, the supply becomes so high that the demand, if it's still outpacing, has to bring the price down. Like, it just has to.
Right.
And but again, this is how some of this craziness happens. I saw CJ made a comment earlier that signatures are available cheap on the secondary market, cheap, less than it costs to get stuff signed at the show. But that's the same market that led to people signing Stan Lee autographs with an auto pen. Led to Stan Lee's handlers forging Stan Lee signatures and selling them as Stan Lee signatures. Like, all of this stuff.
Sorry. Stan started signing my shirt, but I swatted him away and ran for it. Like it. I love it.
Like I said, it's the supply and demand thing for signatures is such a weird, because is such a weird situation, because the more the demand is, the more the supply will become. Because these people realize they can make a lot of money pretty quick and will sign more. But then that drives the value down. And it turns into this cyclical thing. And so, again, I don't think Mark Hamill knew he was charging $400. I just don't. I've met Mark Hamill. I know enough about him that doesn't seem like a Mark Hamill thing. That seems like a thing that was put onto Mark Hamill.
Well, even if he didn't know it, he probably wasn't the one setting the price.
Right. Now he's stuck.
Yeah.
Right.
But I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about a story from last year. I went to a sports card signing, and it was Eddie George again. And $400 for a signed jersey. Eddie finds out and starts screaming at the convention promoter, This isn't what I charge for signed jerseys. I charge $100 for a signed jersey. Get me a Sharpie. I'm changing the damn sign.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't need your money. I'm a head coach at a Division I college. I played in the NFL. I'm a Hall of Famer. This is in Ohio. I'll make a fortune at $100. You'll make a fortune with me charging $100. Let's just get over this.
See. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, and so I wonder again if some of these people like Mark Hamill, if some of the other people I've seen charging ridiculous numbers, if they started standing up for themselves and kind of demanding, hey, this is what my price is, would these conventions start realizing, oh, we are pricing people out of the market and we're pissing off these guests that we're bringing in?
Well,
Definitely.
yeah. So CJ saying the secondary market thing, part of getting a signature to me is meeting the person in person.
Yeah.
And then what you just said at the end of Terrificon, they were coming over the PA system. Hey, Charlie Cox is still hanging out. If anybody wants to come back, and it cracked me up because there were people waiting in line for hours. And then at the end of the show, you could just walk back there and get an auto.
Yeah, and so one of the comments I saved was CJ's comment about the secondary market value, because it's something I definitely want to get to. I am gonna take our first commercial break, which, by the way, by popular request, we do have kind of more evened out commercial breaks because they were a little uneven before, so it's a little bit shorter break. So you're gonna check out some of the awesome advertisers over on the EXP, which you might be watching us on right now. If you're not watching us on the EXP, make sure you go and sub up the EXP as well as Big B's channel and my channel for all that great content, some of which you'll be checking out here in a second in our commercials, and we'll be back in 1 minute. Oh, go ahead.
I'm only, I think, 7 away from 1,500 now.
Go sub up this man right after you sub up the EXP. We'll be back here in 2 minutes. See you soon.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
Twitch, it's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. This is Best Coast Comics. I'm one of your hosts, Christopher, a.k.a. the Bronze Age Nerd. We have another one of our hosts.
The Queen of England. Oh, wait, no. Bigby McFly, the comic guy.
And our special guest tonight, which is...
Bigfoot.
Or as my daughter calls him...
Sure we were doing.
My daughter's taking
crap, I
calling
should
him...
have said Sydney Sweeney.
There you go. Well, next time, Sydney Sweeney. That's you.
By the way, I guess I can throw out a bonus story. There's one of those bogus casting rumor things most likely floating around that she's going to be Black Cat in the MCU, or maybe for one of the Sony movies. I don't know.
The
No one's clear
resemblance
about it.
was
'cause it's all
uncanny,
made up
though.
anyway. What's that?
The resemblance was uncanny.
part of the resemblance is uncanny, that's for sure. Depending on which third you're looking at. But hey, what we're talking about here tonight is all kinds of fun stuff, and the topic of autographs, the cost of them, how much celebrities or creators are charging for it, what is appropriate, when is it too much, is there a too much, that kind of stuff. And we have some amazing comments from the chat that I do want to get to, so we're going to tackle some of those now. First one, I think he later changed this to say he meant for a photo, I believe. But Comic Trips is wondering if you've ever paid for an autograph. And I am curious, I'm guessing we all have, but I'm just going to throw this out there. Have you guys all paid for autographs before? It sounds like we have.
I don't know that I have.
Interesting.
Can't say that I have. I usually get my autographs for free. I'm just not a big autograph guy. Well,
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No, I lied. I bought those Stan Lee autograph books. But I mean, not paid for an autograph experience in person though.
I gotcha. And I know he later changed it to photo. I did the whole photo celeb thing one year when I got like a Christmas present that was kind of a con experience to one of the old Wizard World cons. And I did that for like some of the Doctor Who cast and stuff like. It was really fun. I did it with my wife. Also, I got to meet James Marsden, which was really awesome. It was a fun experience. I generally will pay for an autograph on a comic book if it's a creator that I love, like Larry Hama, for example. I did several. He does the first one was free, I believe, and he asked for some money for the other ones after that. I was more than happy to do that. The donations thing that you were mentioning earlier, Bigby, I've done that before with different artists for signing my books, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I've paid for it, but I don't generally go out for the big photo ops anymore. This weekend, or not this weekend, I guess next weekend at Rose City Comic Con will be an exception, apparently. Finally got myself to do one.
Just racking my brain, and I just realized I paid for Frank Cho's signed book when we were up there. So
there you go.
Yeah, I've paid for lots of autographs.
Yeah.
But I will say this, when I do not pay to stand in line and get something signed. I have many times paid a company or one of the companies that used to exist, I don't know if they still do, that did a lot of private signing situations to get books signed for creators that didn't do shows. So like my first ever John Romita Sr., John wasn't doing shows at the time. He had been ill, there's a bunch of things. So having a company that was doing a signing with him in private, I wanted the signature on this particular book. I didn't care necessarily about getting to meet him. I wanted the signature, that kind of thing. The only time I ever paid for a photograph was actually similar to Bronze. Gallifrey 1. I paid for a photo with all the living doctors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, and like
That's really cool.
I dressed up as a Dalek. It was pretty great. Like it was also the only con I ever really cosplayed at. I cosplayed as a Dalek because when you're as fat as I am, it's pretty easy. So.
Hey, represent.
It's a good costume. Good costume. I might have to steal that one for Halloween. Jesse Duran said, "I'd say supply and demand. If enough people are going to pay that much for Luke Skywalker's autograph, then more power to him. I guess certainly makes something with an autograph more valuable." And that is an interesting question that I think it becomes a piece of this puzzle, and it ties into what CJ says later that we're also going to get to. Maybe we just kind of roll this into one part of the conversation right now, which is that sometimes on the aftermarket, these signatures don't go for as much as you might expect. Essentially, is what we're talking about. He gave a couple examples: Marilyn Monroe, Elvis. John Wayne is another example he gave. He had made this comment to me when I mentioned this topic. I looked up some Marilyn Monroe signatures. There's some weird signatures of hers that have gone for buku bucks on auction, stuff like that too. So I think it definitely depends on what it is. I mean, she had some signed check that sold for like $18,000 or something like that. That was just a check. Her signing memorabilia of her and the I don't know what you'd call it. Was it Some Like It Hot, the dress moment? That definitely goes for more. So that's going to add things into this. But I do think that it's important for me, at least, to make sure that we have that conversation to say that I think a lot of times the value of the aftermarket isn't even what I'm thinking of when I see these prices. I understand why some people are, because that's a business for a lot of people.
Mhm.
Some people can never get to a location to meet some of these people, and so they have to buy these things on the aftermarket. I do realize that, on the secondary market, I should say. But at the same time, I'm considering it for the experience of meeting the person, for having that time and conversation, meeting them. Most of the time, it's not always true. Like, I've sent in books for the CGC in-house signing events. I'm never there. I'm obviously not in the room while it's happening, and I'm still, in some cases, willing to do that, happy to do that. Like, I'd rather send in like 10 Chris Claremont books and have him sign them, and then bring in one and have that conversation with him at the show, and not have to have him distracted by signing all the books, that kind of thing. J. Scott Campbell, he signs a ton of books. I'd love to meet him in a show, but I'm also cool with him signing all my J. Scott Campbell books at a remote signing. Mark Hamill, I want to meet him. I want to be in the room. I want to have that conversation, have that moment that I'll remember forever. How do you guys feel about that?
I've worked a lot of Kevin Eastman private signings, or signings in general, and you see that with people, right? But then you see the people who don't care that they're in the room, and I think that's an important. I think that's a distinction you can make, right? Here's a line for people who want to have a conversation, who want to talk about what Star Wars meant to them, or what the Turtles meant in the Kevin Eastman situation, right?
Mhm.
Here's the line for the people who just want the SIG. And the pricing can be different.
Yeah.
You know what? If you're in the line of people who really want to meet somebody, it's $125 for a signature and a selfie. If you just want the signature, it's $150, or it's $100, or whatever. Figure it out, right?
Right.
If the celebrity or the guest is more into it for the meeting the people, then charge less for the meeting the people and charge more for the people who just want the signature, right? Or vice versa. If you're just in it for the money, flip it. It turns into an expectations game at some point, and you're always going to disappoint somebody. So if you set those expectations clearly, it wins, right?
I've never gotten stuff signed for a monetary gain personally. It's always, I just want to have an interaction with that person. So it doesn't matter to me what it's worth later on. I mean, now that, like, trying to figure out something like that, I found, like, where I found the Stan Lee books, trying to figure out what that's worth based on what was Stan charging back when he was alive, what do Stan's books go for now, blah 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 blah. It makes it very difficult to figure out what something's worth. But
I've paid Disney for photos of myself on their rides. Does that count? Yeah, I think that. Look, there is a whole group of people that are out there getting autographs on stuff because they want to sell it down the road. I get that, and I think there's a lot of collectors that are, I guess the only way I can describe this is kind of deluding themselves. This happens a lot. I know a lot of collectors that they collect these comics and memorabilia and all kinds of stuff, and they talk about how much it's worth, but they're never going to sell it. Like,
Right.
They like having something, they're like, oh, and it's signed, like it increased the value, and like they have that conversation with you, but then they're never selling that item. Like, they're never actually turning around selling it. And I think there's this almost weird, like, I don't want to say hoarding mentality that kind of happens. When I say hoarding, I mean like maybe more on like Smaug on top of his hoard of treasure. I think there's some collectors that are like that, right? Like, that's exactly, yeah, uncanny. You should go with Smaug for Halloween.
there you go.
But I've noticed that phenomenon happening a lot too, where people seem concerned about that, but really it's not anything I actually see them selling. Maybe if times got tough and they needed to sell some stuff, that might be when they would.
Yeah, but I had a guy that wanted to get he wanted to sell me autographed Walking Dead book by what's his name? Creator.
Robert Kirkman.
Kirkman. It's not worth. Yeah, he was thinking it's worth like $300 or $400, and I'm just like, it's not worth what you think it's worth. I mean, I can find them on the secondary market for a pittance, So I'm like,
well, but that brings up a whole other topic too. Just when it comes to comic books, and this is something that Kyle and I talked about once on Devil's Advocates. We got in this conversation. let's say that signed Robert Kirkman Walking Dead item was a Walking Dead #1, and let's say it was signed by Robert Kirkman, and it was, you know, either a COA you happen to trust or a signature series or witnessed CBCS or whatever, right? However you want to put it.
Right.
There's a whole swath of people out there. There are dozens of you times dozens of you that will not pay a penny more for that collectible because it's signed by Robert Kirkman. And some of you who wouldn't buy it at all because it's signed by Robert Kirkman because you don't like
some people feel like it devalues it because it was damaged by being signed, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So I remember when we were talking about this, there was something we never got to that I've been thinking about since then. And it's an interesting thing that I'd like to hear because, like, Space Case just said it. I personally don't like signed comics. Chad says I don't like signatures.
Mm-hmm.
Walking Dead #1 is unarguably a key.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Robert Kirkman, Tony Moore with a remark. Okay. So the writer and the artist with a remark. You now have a one-off key.
Mm-hmm. A one of a rare book.
Right. Are you still, if you don't like signatures, going to pass on that opportunity if it's a book that you would otherwise buy? Right? It's, if I have a Batman Hush signed by Jim Lee and everyone else who worked on that book, and it's got a remark, are you still going to pass just because you don't like signatures? Or are you still going to quibble with me over what I'm asking for that one of one? Like, that's a question that I've been rolling around in my brain for months now. Because I've got a whole room full of that crap. I've got a whole room full of turtles.
Find the right audience for it, though, is the thing.
Right.
Some people are just, it's not going to mean anything to them. And other people are going to be like, oh my God, right? So, I mean.
Right. I've got a whole room full of turtles that are Eastman and Laird both signed, Kevin remarks, Peter remarks, Tom Waltz signatures with remarks that are literally the only ones of their kind, right? And would people really pass on that if they were going to buy the Turtles book anyway? And
yeah,
it's something that I need to figure out because it like CJ says, it's part of what I do as a business, right? I work with these guys and help them sell these books. Is this something we need to contend with? Is it buy a book and then have it signed if you want it signed, or should we have them signed and remarked beforehand? Like, it turns into this question of what are we actually selling here?
Well, if you're going to buy it anyway, and the price wasn't any different, would you buy it? That's because some people just don't care, right?
Yeah,
so
I think that's an important part of that equation too.
Right,
sure.
A TMNT2 is going to cost what a TMNT2 costs.
Right.
Yeah,
the signatures aren't going to change it that much.
Right.
Right.
So
and
would you pass if it was signed? Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, Legion of Comics jumped in the chat, which, by the way, shout out to Legion. I kind of only prefer signatures if I was able to be there to get it signed. I like the memory attached to it, and I think that's where I am for the most part. Like I said, unless I know and meet the creator in a different place, and to me, it's just cool to have. Like, I'll be honest, there's some creators I just like their signature. I think they have very aesthetically pleasing signatures. They know how to sign their books. Some artists have done a really good job of making the signature kind of almost part of the cover art. Then you have creators like, I love you, Chris Claremont. I have a very complicated relationship with that man, but he signs terribly. I'm just going to be honest. He does some terrible signatures. He hid his signature in the pile of bodies at the bottom of Wolverine 1 on my Wolverine 1. Like, it's kind of like this grayish purple, and he used like a purple pen. And if you don't know it's there, you'll never see it. It's just hidden in there. Or he just signs in black over the title, and you know, that's fine too. But there's some signatures like that.
He was much more amicable to not signing over the trade dress at Terrificon, which I and a lot of my friends were very shocked by. He was signing right up the side on a lot of them. He was doing really creative ways to sign books, actually.
Yeah, and you know, then there's other art like Ryan Stegman has like that really cool signature. Think of it as signature is amazing. There's so many great signatures out there.
Todd.
It makes sense that artists, they take some time to perfect that, of course. But I think that matters too. Yeah, exactly. Iconic. But yeah, I think that's a huge part of it too. But for me, really, like I never would get anything signed just thinking about the value of it. I mean, it may be a consideration because I have to kind of offset it. Like, okay, if I, when I die, is this going to be worth more for my family because this person signed it? And is it worth, me spending the money now to get that done? Because I know, hey, like Mark Hamill wasn't charging $400 for signatures years ago. Now he is, that kind of thing, for example.
Right. So you bought it back in the day and it's $100. Now he's charging $4. So now you've 4x'd your investment, right?
or even just save myself that much money from having waited. And that's the other part of this that I really wanted to get to, and I'll do it before I hit some of these other comments. Kind of a little bit with this Maze thing here, we talked about this earlier. It's kind of a thing between managers and convention managers. But the other part about this is you don't want to wait for some of these people. And I know, for example, Kyle mentioned Stan Lee earlier. Been to so many shows where Stan Lee was there. I regret, it's one of my biggest regrets in my life is putting off meeting Stan Lee because he's at every show. And I just put it off. I wasn't going to cons at the time for various reasons. And I never had that chance. I never got the chance to meet Stan. And maybe that would be something that would have enriched my life. Maybe my version of wishing I had done it is better than that actual memory would have been. I don't know. But I do have that regret. And I do recommend, like we talked about Larry Hama a few shows ago and how he's not going to be doing remarks. He's not going to be doing sketches, that kind of stuff. And even I think he said signing his name is actually one of the most painful things for him to do. If I'm not mistaken, in that comment he made where he's kind of taking a step back from doing that stuff and saying, get it done now while you can. There are those people out there that I do recommend. If you think you're going to care at some point, you may as well get it done now because inflation, their popularity, their fame, all those kinds of different factors will contribute to them having more expensive signatures, autographs, photo opportunities, whatever it is you're looking for down the road.
Like you said earlier, you're talking about Marilyn Monroe. I mean, about celebrities whose lives are cut short. D. Claw just said Michael Turner. People. So who knows? How long you have to get these signatures too. So like we enjoyed meeting Jim Shooter at this last time. We didn't get signatures, but just take the time to meet these folks like when you can. Like a lot of as many of the old timers.
Oh, I think we're losing your mic again, which means he can't hear us either because it's a headset.
Yep.
So
so real quick, CJ, when an artist signs the same way and charges differently depending on what the item is Bush League. I will say this, and this comes from the world of sports cards again. It's harder to sign some stuff than it is for others. So when a guy says, I'll sign a mini helmet for 50 and I'll sign a card for 25, it's hard to get a good looking signature on a mini helmet compared to a card or something. You know what I mean? So yeah. I'm understanding on some level of those things, right? But to say, okay, I'm going to charge you $150 for a poster, which is a flat, or $100 for a picture, which is a flat. Yeah, that's Bush League to me. That's where we get into a problem. But if I'm having you sign my custom lightsaber and you're, Ray Park or somebody who, is going to get asked to sign a ton of lightsabers, I get charging a little bit different for that because that is a hard thing to sign, right? There might not be a nice place to write your name. And then if you sign it in a place where I don't want you to sign it, I'm going to be a jerk to you because you didn't sign it where I wanted you to sign it. Now it's going to be hard for me to frame it and hang it on my wall. There's something to be said for charging a little extra for the nightmare. But yeah, I like when you see a convention, $75 for flats, $100 for 3Ds, $200 for anything plus a professional photo or whatever, where you're breaking down exactly what you're paying for and exactly what you're getting. So.
Yep, absolutely. I highlighting that comment by Chris, it reminded me. This is kind of a quick little palate cleanser between comments. How much do each of you charge for a photo? So, Kyle, what are you charging for photos these days?
If I'm in it, whatever the cost of your lens is when I break it, you need to pay me up front so that I can replace your lens.
Seems fair. A little extra step there, but I like it. How about you, Big B? What are you charging?
Clothed or unclothed?
Ooh, if it's at a con, let's say probably unclothed. That's my guess. No,
no. Anybody can come up to me and take a selfie for free. I had an awesome time meeting people at Terrificon.
I will. I'm going to throw something out there. Monroe Comic Con is coming up in September, and I'm sponsoring the selfie corner. So they always have a corner where they've got like big standees and stuff you can take pictures with. They've got like a Funko box you can stand in and take your picture where you look like a Funko Pop, stuff like that. That costs me a lot of money to do that sponsorship, and I'm glad to do it because it lets them bring in extra comic creators and people like that to the show. But if anybody watching this is there when I'm there and K-pop is there, I'm sure we will do a free photo for you guys. If you're like, hey, I saw you on Best Coast Comics,
Okay, I only will give out $1 to each person that wants their photo with me. That's it. I refuse to give more than $1 for my photo to you.
Although I will say that I do charge $1 for prints in that corner. Like you want a photo print, it's $1. You want the frame, it's $20. I'll sell you a custom frame for $20, but like.
Was this your Etsy store? Comic Tropes was kind enough to do a super chat, which means he really wants this question asked. He's willing to throw around that big YouTube money. What's the most you'd pay for a Michael Chiklis signature? How much would you pay for him to sign a commish action figure? Ooh, that's a good one. Why I know I'd only pay $1,000 for him to sign a Thing action figure. For a commish, that's limited. I'd say. Boy, was Michael Chiklis, was he on The Shield too? Is that his other show?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's got to be rarer than The Shield. I'd say probably $3,000 of your money, Chris. That would be my answer for that one. How about you guys?
Yeah, I would pay $25 for him to sign my head, bald guy to bald guy, but $0 for anything else.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. How about you, Big B? What's the Chiklis worth? No Chiklis bump?
Meh.
I love it.
And I paid the weirdest thing I ever paid for at a convention. I'm just going to throw it out there. Is I paid $25 to have Brutus the Barber Beefcake trim my beard with the shears for the social media content.
There you go. Yeah.
Like sometimes you do dumb stuff like have Michael Chiklis sign your head for $50 or have Brutus the Barber Beefcake trim your beard just for the content.
Right. See, well, I'm in a weird spot too because I do the Heroes for Heroes thing, and one of my big initiatives has been to try to get, and I've failed miserably at it so far. So this shows you how successful I am at it. I'm trying to get like celebrities involved, like even minor celebrities, whoever I can get involved to try to raise awareness. I would love to pay almost like a cameo kind of thing, like the app. Pay somebody, hey, could you? And I understand why they won't do this, but if I could be like, hey, can you do a short video with me talking about this charity thing? I totally understand that it's not, what you normally do. Rather than get an autograph from you, I'd pay you $25-$50 to do that so I can run it as promotion kind of stuff. I would love to do that kind of stuff, but I know it's just, they're probably worried about it because they don't know who they're supporting and all that kind of stuff too.
There's a whole section of Cameo just for that.
There is. Unfortunately, those prices are much higher than what I can afford. But yeah, that's something I've definitely thought about is that kind of a thing where it's like not really so much for me, but just for the lulz, as the kids say, or as they said 15 years ago.
So how high do we have to get in Heroes for Heroes for you to get your beard trimmed up like mine?
What Comics Curing Cancer, which is a fantastic organization, Legion of Comics was in here earlier. He's 1/3 of the kind of force behind Comics Curing Cancer. I think they did like $55,000 last year. If we beat what they did last year, I will trim up my beard. So,
all right,
because for
set
that
the
much
bar
money,
low. Set
that
the
much
bar
money for
low.
Mission 22, I will 100%. I'll go full shaved if that's what people want. If we get to that number.
If we get to that number and I'm on, I will shave this section of my beard clean off on the air.
Ooh.
Oh wow, there you go.
So somebody out
I'd
there,
say if we
really
get to
wants
that
to
number,
happen.
we should all like just go baby face.
Mhm.
Oh no, I will never
Mustache,
do that.
beard,
I will
everything.
never do that again.
$55,000.
Now, I
That's a
won't do
lot.
it live on the spot, and I will tell you why I won't do it live on the spot, because I will freak my daughter out, and I need to prepare her for the fact that that could happen. But I will
Right,
definitely do it
right.
like on a stream or something after that. You bet. Once
You know,
she's
I
been
will-
properly warned.
Definitely keep this, because if I don't, I
chin
look like
strap.
some sort of predator.
You would look a little bit like a 1800s politician or something. I think if you just had
That's
that.
why it's okay. I look like
See, we would
know-
have the tan lines too. That's the weird thing, like from your
That's a good
beard being there so long.
Mhm.
So
Ooh,
like,
there's all kind. Then you let that 5 o'clock shadow kind of grow back in just to kind of balance it out.
all right.
Let's talk about some more autos real fast before we got to take our next break here. More auto comments from the chat.
running out of juice there, Kyle.
Yeah, I am.
Oh.
But I'm good. Let's
Okay,
hit
all
the
right.
rest of these comments and we get out of here.
Okay, I was gonna
All
say if you need to take off,
I'll
we
get
totally
outta
understand. I know it's late for you. Over here on the Best Coast, we still got some gas going. I only bought autographs once. It was years ago at NYCC, and I paid for both Stanley and William Shatner. Not sure what I paid, but it couldn't have been more than $100. It was too impersonal, which that's kind of one of those things that I hate to read. I know a couple people were bringing up Jim Lee, and we'll talk about him later. I went to Rose City Comic Con where Jim Lee was 2 years ago, and I did the whole, like, the only way to get a signature from Jim Lee, unless you got lucky and you just happened to want to do it at his booth, I guess, was to do a private signing ticket purchase. And I think it was like around $100, but you got like a certain number of signatures, like 2 comic books, plus you could do more if you wanted to. And you got like a exclusive signed poster, Batman Catwoman poster, and you got like a photo op, like a photo basically. And I was willing to pay that just because I didn't think I'd have another chance to meet Jim Lee automatically before that price went up. And sure enough, it looks like Jim Lee is starting to charge more for certain things. I saw somebody say $125 here in the chat earlier, so it's already gone up a little bit.
I wish I had hung on to. I told the story of getting to meet all of the Image founders when they split off from Image, and they were in Portland, and there was such a cluster of people trying to get autos from them that they all just jumped over the table and started walking down the line signing everything for everybody. And I think I got like 8 books signed by Jim Lee, and I gave them all away to my friends because I was like, he just signed it for free, it's not a big deal. And now I'm like, God, I wish I still had all of those.
Well, it's like Comic Tropes talking about. I mean, if you guys don't know, Comic Tropes was actually pretty well connected with Robert Kirkman early in his career, especially. They hung out quite a bit, and he had a bunch of copies of Walking Dead #1 signed. He said he just gave away to people. Those would be worth a bit today, especially like during the height of the Walking Dead show and everything. By the way, figure drawing, you have no idea how right you are, because most of my gray is in my beard, and so when that's gone, I definitely have a bit of a cheat code. I'm getting the gray for sure, but
I trimmed this stuff up, and my buddy said, he's like, holy crap, you lost 20 years. I was like, looks a little better.
Now, I did mention the Jim Lee thing, and Kyle, you tell me if you want to be around for this part of the conversation, because this is where I was going to kind of get into. Dismay's comment here is about the Jim Lee commission prices. Do you want to be around for that part of the conversation, or do you want to use that as a chance?
I need to dip, but
Okay,
I will tell. I have 2 very quick Jim Lee stories that will
lay 'em on us.
Maybe redeem him for some of that high price. A year ago, a buddy of mine has a small shop in Traverse City, Michigan. Jim Lee's daughter was at a horse show up there in that part of the world, and Jim was looking for stuff in town and saw a post from that guy going, hey, things have been slow. We're struggling a little bit this summer, yada, yada. and did a free signing at the store and stayed for 6 hours.
Oh, wow.
Signed everything and
Wow.
didn't charge the store a dime and made them a mountain of money and helped
There
keep
you
that
go.
store afloat through the thing. So Jim Lee is, in my opinion, a top level stand-up guy. The other story I will give is, and it's not my story to tell, but Nancy McCann, who is on The Experience on Friday night, she does Friday Night Live. Her shop was down the street from the Image offices for years. And so those guys would come into her for the LCS. And the thing she said is that he never wanted to read stuff from anybody he'd ever heard of. He always wanted to find that next guy, that next talent, that next person. So it's one of those things is that I think despite the fact that he maybe charges 3 arms and 2 legs for a sketch is sort of reasonable based on how much work he already has. But it's also really important to me to remember for a long time, Jim Lee has been that guy who's out there trying to push things forward, even if it's not through his own work, if it's through finding others who can do the next thing. So those are my Jim Lee stories. I wouldn't pay 10 grand for a Jim Lee sketch, but I won't tell you guys what I paid for a Todd McFarlane sketch. So it's all right.
And I'll use that opportunity to point out that Kyle, if you're not familiar, if you haven't been around for long enough to watch the old Devil's Advocate show, Kyle is the executive producer over on the EXP, which you could be watching the show right now over on the EXP if you want to. It's a great YouTube channel. They're also on Facebook, Twitch, X, Instagram Live. You can check them out on all those places as well. I just posted into the chat a link to that survey we mentioned at the top of the show. If you just tuned in, go take the survey, because there's going to be a lot of great opportunities in there for you to take the short survey and get a chance to have your voice heard for what kind of content will probably be coming on the EXP. We want to hear your opinion. There's also some really important questions on there that will help kind of shape the future of what's to come. So really appreciate you guys going and doing that. And then at the same time, go set up the EXP and go check out the great content over there. There's tons of great content. In a little bit, we'll have another ad break where you can kind of check out some more ads for some of the content over there. And
can we get the links in the chat for subbing up EXP and all of us?
Oh, that'd be good. You know what, Jeff? If K-pop's still watching, she's amazing at that. If not, Jay might be.
Handle that. But guys, if you go fill out the survey, the link is over there.
Oh yes,
and give me about 45 minutes. I will get the portal back up and running. You will be able to download a free copy of Vampirella #1 from 2019 by Christopher Priest.
Hell
digital.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So if you're one of those that I will never own a digital comic, it's free. You're not paying for it. But thanks to our friends at Dynamite for throwing that up for us. So we appreciate you all for doing that.
Kyle, print it out and staple it together.
Yeah.
Print it out and staple it together.
Yeah, right.
Kyle will help you break your oath of saying you'll never own a digital comic.
So, guys, thanks for having me. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thanks for coming on, Kyle.
Thanks everybody in the comments. CJ, it was good to talk to you. Figure drawing, all those guys. It's good to see y'all. I miss seeing you guys every Monday night. But I will tell you what, the amount of stuff I'm getting done, not having to argue with Bronze about stuff. All right, we'll see you guys later.
All right, have a good night. See you later, Kyle. Awesome. Yeah, so it was really cool to have Kyle back on. I know he wanted to talk about this topic when he saw it roll through, so that was really cool. I do want to. We're going to talk about this for sure a couple more minutes before we do our final ad break, and I do want to kind of talk about this Jim Lee topic a little bit more. We talked about it before briefly. I don't think I terribly disagree with Kyle on this. I just throw out there like this idea of to me it pretty obviously is like, hey, I don't have the time to do all these sketches and commissions, or I don't have the. He's getting, a little older. A lot of artists want to kind of slow down when they get to a certain point because of their hands, because of their eyes, because of their time. If you factor in all those reasons, I think he's setting a high price because he knows some people will still pay it, and it will be worth it to him then in those cases to do those drawings. And I have no problem with that.
It's going to be a much better quality drawing, I bet.
That's the one caveat is for that amount of money, I really hope so.
Better be good.
I really hope he puts his time and effort into it. I have every confidence that he would, or if you weren't happy with it or something, he'd probably make it right. But yeah, it's definitely like CJ says here, a Jim Lee sketch today is very different from a Jim Lee sketch 10 to 20 years ago. The price is understandable. The drop in quality is not. And so that's interesting. I haven't done a lot of comparisons of recent sketches compared to the old ones. And I certainly haven't seen an example of one of the sketches he's done with the new prices. So that would be very interesting to see as well if he does up the quality a little bit.
CJ had a good question too about the cost of signing different books based on value of the book. I thought that was interesting.
Let me get that 1 second here. Just got a really good bring up, which is I'm going to put a little ticker at the bottom of the screen because I haven't mentioned this in a hot minute.
Oh yeah.
We do have a giveaway tonight if you want to get a chance to win this Conan Throne of Aquilonia. I said it right the first two times, and I struggled the third time. This is a trade paperback from Dark Horse that Bigby put up for the cause. I'll throw in raw comic books and comic book trading cards and all kinds of cool stuff. Posters, like I throw in different kinds of things depending on. You just get a random box of really cool stuff from us, basically. In fact, a couple people were posting the stuff they got earlier in my Discord. I think Psycho Phil posted a package he got from us, and he was pretty happy about that too. So
very cool.
Definitely recommend doing hashtag Conan in the chat if you want your chance to win the awesome
the Throne of Aquafina. Exactly.
Oh, jeez. There's been a couple of zingers. You guys are on fire in the chat. I love it. Love to see it.
I just think, speaking of her, I just watched that lottery movie on Amazon. It's pretty good, actually, with her and Cena.
Hold on, Heck Ortiz. I'm pretty sure I have the right person here. I don't have your shipping information. I think you won a package. I'm so sorry if I have this, if I'm mixing you up with somebody else, but I'm pretty sure I'm waiting for your shipping information to send something out to you. Just in case, would you hit me up just to make sure I have that correct? Because I saw you in the chat. I wanted to make sure to hit you up. So that's when,
hey, Steve.
Okay, so CJ's comment about
signing a New Mutants 87 and 98 versus
and for Rob Liefeld. Yeah, that's actually something I was going to talk about too as well. And I'm glad he brought that up. CJ brings up some really good points, and that's one that I was definitely going to talk about. Where one of the ways in which, like, obviously my philosophy is I don't care what an artist wants to charge as far as it's their right to charge it, whether or not it's right to charge it is the nuance. And that's kind of one where I feel there's two variations of that. An artist asking, or any creator, anybody asking to charge more for a certain kind of signature, especially the graded witnessed signature stuff. That's the one that really is weird to me.
I saw. Go ahead.
I
saw Michael Golden getting like testy at the show, but I've signed too many of those. That's going to be an extra $20. And it was just like, really? I mean, and then the stories. I saw him do the same thing with Avengers Annual 10.
Yeah,
he charges way more for that one because it's worth more. I'm like, but it's still, you're just signing your name.
Yeah. That's where, like, I think for me, that's like, okay, let's say, Rob Liefeld, I'm not saying this is what he does, just for example. Let's say he charges $20 for a signature, and let's say he charges $60 for New Mutants 98. I'm just using him as an example. I don't know what his actual prices are. Well, I don't care then if you say, like, because my signature on New Mutants 98 is worth so much, I'm going to charge $40 for every signature. Fine. Okay. But to charge more for one book,
right?
It doesn't make any sense to me. There's no reason for that. And the implicit argument that I hear is, well, it's because people turn around and sell that book. But what about the people that don't? Like, you're penalizing. How do you know?
I don't. I don't collect signatures. So you know what? This whole thing, I'm forgetting all the stuff that we did up at SummerCon. But but like pulling books for Starlin, considering to have him sign. I don't want a giant key signed. I want something cool that he did, but nothing super expensive.
It's funny because Steve just came in with a comment that's both about Jim Starlin and, I mean, you could say Nitro is kind of a key, but it's also probably a pretty minor key in the great scheme of things. But yeah, that's like I had, speaking of Washington State SummerCon, I had Dan Jurgens sign my Booster Gold #1.
Right.
I have more expensive comics he could sign, or comic books that are probably a little more desirable for certain collectors that he could sign. I like Booster Gold. I think he's a really cool, unique character. That's the signature I wanted. And he was awesome enough to sign it like
that's his signature, one of his signature characters too. So I mean,
exactly
makes sense.
So it is a key, but it's not, I'm sure he signed 1 billion Death of Supermans, right, or whatever. There's a million.
But he didn't charge you more for Booster Gold #1.
Exactly. In fact, I might be misremembering it. I don't think he charged at all, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did. I kind of forget at this point. A lot of artists are charging like $5 or $10 or so, and it's honestly, I'm cool with that. I'm totally fine with that every time. If it's somebody who I wanted to get a signature from anyway, them charging that amount of money isn't going to stop me from getting the signature. But that's just how I feel about it.
I paid for Al Milgram's signature. I just forgot.
Oh, there you go.
I'm just made out to be a giant liar tonight.
Bigby McFly exposed for what he really is.
McFly, the lion guy.
The lion guy. Oh my gosh. I do want to take our final ad break here right before I get to the next comment. So I'm going to do that right now. We're going to do our final ad break, and then we're going to tackle some. That's Shattered variant. That's awesome. And then we're going to tackle a few more topics after I quickly go through the other comments about this, because we do have a few other news stories out there. So here's our last ad break for the night, and we'll be right back with more after this.
Whoa. Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome. It's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So
It's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of the experience.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
In a world where you hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
That'd be really great. Thanks.
Oh, sorry, you caught me raving there. Hey, we're back for Best Coast Comics. Those are some of the awesome shows you can check over on the EXP, which we are co-streaming to as well. So I want to quickly go through these.
Tonight.
Yeah. I want to quickly go through some of these comments because I do want to get to the other couple news stories we have before we do our giveaway drawing, which, by the way, hashtag Conan in the chat if you want a chance to win some freebies. So we talked about this, so I don't think I really need to go over it again, but the handlers' agents are behind the prices. Totally agree with you on that, Troy. There's a lot to that piece. We talked about that earlier. Psycho Phyllis is not a big signature guy. The only one I've ever gone after was Walter Simonson's, and he only asked for a donation to Hero Initiative. We talked about that a little bit too earlier. Shout out to Walter Simonson, who you got the honor of meeting in a very cool way. Yeah, and eating, feasting with, breaking bread with. But yeah, the donations for charity for signatures, I feel much differently about. Like it's a much different conversation at that point. I know it was. I want to say Brian Michael Bendis. The first time I ever saw him at a show, I think he was doing canned food donations. Like you got free signatures. If you brought a can of food. That's cool, right? So I thought that was neat.
That is cool.
Dismay says there's a few people I might get a photo op with, but I haven't paid for one yet. I could see someone having more personal value in getting a photo with a celebrity than an autograph. And that's a weird one for me too, because I've done the photo thing a few times and I'm planning on doing it once more at least. Depends on the opportunity, but maybe a couple more times. It's a weird one for me because it's like if I met somebody on the street or in a coffee house or something like that, I would think it's cooler to have that conversation with them than to have a photo with them. But did you say dark alley?
Yes.
But you're going to this event and it's like you hope that you get a couple quick interactions with them. Maybe you get to say something personal to them or how their work's affected you, and then you get a photo. And I think you kind of know what you're getting walking into it. I do wish that some of these had like more of a talk for 5 minutes option, right? That you could pay a certain amount of money for, and that's maybe a little gross in some ways or something, if you want to put it that way.
Shooter option.
Exactly, right?
I gotta say, like Claremont, though, he was talking to every person personably and interacting with them and interacting with the crowd as he was talking, and he was there every night after the show closed, still talking to people in the line.
Yeah. And I think that's kind of like Juice Stained Comics had this comment about Jeffrey Combs here that's kind of along those lines, just kind of that, those memorable moments. And I think that those are sometimes worth it for fans, for sure. This is what I talked about. The Jim Lee figure drawing brought up this comment about his signing, which already went up a little bit. We talked about that a little bit. Chad Cave, good point. And then we talked about CJ's question here. I did want to. The Michael Chiklis chat has been awesome. Michael Chiklis paid for Comic Trips' signature, and that is really an accomplishment to get a man like Michael Chiklis to sign it. I don't know what it is with Michael Chiklis tonight. I really want to know the story behind this. Is Chiklis just on the brain?
Chiklis paid tropes, though. That's what he said.
Brian, yeah, exactly. Well, of course he would. I mean,
right.
He's going to recognize celebrity when he meets him,
right.
and respect it, of course, because he's Michael Chiklis. Of course, he's going to respect it.
Of course.
Brian Michael Chiklis. I love it. I love the repetition. And then this was a good point from Jay. Big B is going to be our topic. Big B McFly, the comic book liar.
The lion guy.
The line guy, that's right.
I wish there was a kiss for a 5 minutes option. Is that the Sydney Sweeney one tropes?
I did pay to get my ASM 39 signed by Stan Lee back in 2014 and got it CGC'd. I didn't think too much at the time, but now it's one of my favorite items. And that's boom, Jesse. That is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the like the Stan Lee experience, the Jim Shooter experience we were just talking about. Larry Hama, these experiences with these creators that you're truly a fan of, go do it if you can.
Even if you're not.
Whoa! I don't want to wake up my whole household by applauding too loudly, but I'm applauding loudly in my heart for you, Bigby. That's awesome. Congratulations, man. Well deserved. Thank you for pointing that out, Christina. We appreciate it. Okay, so let's see. I'm gonna see if there's any other quick chat that I didn't have in my. Michael Golden was charging $50 per auto, $75 if it was witnessed. Yeah, $25 extra for a witnessed. I don't get it.
Michael Golden's wife was really cool. I will say that.
Okay, like I said before, he was nice to me.
Mr. Akins was getting a sketch done, and he handed the book to Michael Golden's wife, and he said he recreated Avengers Annuals 10. With the boxes and everything. And he's like, I just want to sketch in this little tiny box. And she's like, oh, we were pretty much done, but I think he can do that pretty quick. And Golden was like, I thought we were done. And he looks at it and he goes, that's going to be $150. And his wife goes, I told him 75. And she made him stick to it. So
That's awesome. I'm king for the kid. That's there we go. There we go. Hey, well, welcome to listen to us talk about comic books and Cheddar Comics. You didn't fully miss the Mark Hamill discussion. We mostly were using it for a springboard for talking about
all around the topic of autographs and whatnot, sketches.
But I'm sorry you missed the signature. That goes right to the point of it definitely would price it out for some people, and I'm sorry that's the case, Cheddar.
Well, Cheddar, you just got to rewatch.
Yeah. So I guess
comment.
You gotta watch on the rewind. You gotta comment. You gotta sub up to the EXP and Big B if you're not already. All that fun stuff. You might even get a kiss from Comic Tropes. He's not responsible for that. I'm just saying it might happen.
Was it for 3 or 5 minutes? I don't
know. Let me present our. I actually should move on to our next news story here.
Probably.
Which is a cool one. And these will be fairly quick. I don't think any of this stuff is really like deep conversation worthy. However, I personally am kind of interested in this one because this involves a moment in What If Season 2 that ended up becoming my daughter and Maya's favorite episode of that season. Although I really enjoyed the Die Hard episode as well with Happy. But if you didn't watch, What If Season 2, there's a really cool episode where an original character is introduced, Kaori. And this is her, which is very 100%. And it's a really, really, really fun episode. Obviously, I said it's my favorite, so I really enjoyed it. It sounds like you liked it too.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
Yeah. And so this character is going to be crossing over into a one-shot of the comic books. And I'm trying to see where they mention it's in the Marvel Voices Reshaper of Worlds Kaori special. So there's the cover art for it. Very, very, very cool character. If you haven't seen the episode yet, I won't spoil the whole thing, but there's a buffalo stampede scene in that where they're hunting buffalo that is fantastic. Gave me chills.
That's going to be they're telegraphing a first appearance for you guys. So
yeah, so there's a little bit of speculation there, but also I'm excited. I can't wait to read this comic book with my daughter because she loves this character.
Oh yeah.
And I thought she was really cool too. So I can't wait to see more of her. There you go. Some people have said we don't talk about actual comic books enough on this show. Well, there's one I'm going to be absolutely into. Oh, nice. That's awesome.
I'm interested to see how much of that What If plays over into MCU. Maybe when we get Secret Wars and stuff, because they have signed the fellow that plays the Watcher,
Jeffrey,
for live action stuff.
Gosh, I can't remember his name.
So it'd be interesting to see how that all plays out. I would love it if he brings his team from What If into Secret Wars. That'd be awesome.
Well, there's some stuff going on. Like if you watch the What If you watch both seasons, there's kind of some world building that's going on there that makes a lot of sense to me for potentially transitioning over. I mean, we already, I think, seeing Peggy Carter as Captain America, or not Captain America, but Captain Carter would be fantastic. The season
undervalued first appearance in the Silver Age.
Yep,
Peggy Carter.
There you go.
Peggy and Sharon back to back 2 issues.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how that works. But yeah, that's just really cool. I'm excited for that one. And then I don't actually have a good article for this, but I'm sure it'll take me about 5 minutes. I mean, 5 seconds, not 5 minutes, to find a good article about this next story. Somebody brought it up in chat, and I absolutely, here, first link.
I sent you an article as well. I don't know if you had time to look at it, but it was
on Instagram, or where did you send it?
IG, that Jim Lee announcement about
So I didn't have a chance to watch that. It's a video. So
Documentary.
It's a Christopher Reeve related one, right?
Yep.
I heard about that today, but I was out and about. Okay, so here's a picture's worth 1,000 words on this one. So
it's like a mouth with teeth, right, or something. Oh, is that a bat?
I've heard bat brick. So what is this? I got to frame it first. Besides just making the jokes, some people legitimately don't know what it is. This is a new logo that Absolute Batman's coming out. This is the logo that's going to be for the new iteration of Batman. And yeah, there's this thing that happened. This was kind of the news story that kind of caught fire. Because I mean, some people would argue that
some people caught wind of it.
Yep. That they're petitioning James Gunn to change it, which inspired James Gunn to say, "Sorry, folks, I don't have control over that. That's not my purview." But basically, people don't like it. That's kind of the moral of the story, which I don't understand.
I just kind of think it's the artist's take on it. That's fine. This is not the regular Batman logo. It's the Absolute Batman, right? So I mean,
it's the Absolute Batman, exactly. I did see Scott Snyder kind of leaning into it a little bit and kind of owning it a little bit. I wonder, and I don't know the answer to this. I know some people might. I don't know. Maybe there's a narrative reason for this that I'm unaware of. Maybe
dude is Bat Hulk. Look at his head.
Bat Hulk.
I mean, look at his head size compared to the size of his body. I mean, it's just it's artistic license, Yeah.
Square bat giant pants. Oh god. You guys are killing me. Jeffrey Wright. Yeah. Thanks everybody. I appreciate that. Me and Names name a better duo.
Yeah, we're great. We can name
between the two of us.
Half the people we talk about.
That one guy, from that thing.
That guy from that thing on that show on that other channel. That dude.
Look, it's pretty bad. I'm just gonna say that I hope there's some kind of
overall art. I don't think it's bad. Just that logo. I think the logo is kind of bad.
I just don't understand. It looks like Batman's being censored. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
It's pretty funny. But I still actually want to read the Absolute stuff because, like I've mentioned, I think when we first talked about Absolute, I'm not like up on current DC.
That's a good jumping on point, right? It's a good jumping on point for something different.
Try something different.
Like they did All Star. I mean, they've already done this. They did All Star back in the day. So.
Dismay says the black paint on the suit will slowly scratch off with time and wear, where it accidentally becomes an actual bat.
There you go. He'll get hit by like gunshots and stuff and take chunks out of it.
There's this new vigilante. They call him the Barcode. Like, I don't know. Like, what's the story behind his costume in the first place?
They call him Chunk or Chonk.
He's got thunder thighs.
Fat Chonk.
Fat Man logo. Yeah, there's some good ones. It looks like the Bat TV screen with bad reception. So I did not know a Superman trailer. I was out all day before the show, pretty much. I got home.
I haven't. Wow, I haven't seen the trailer yet for the new Superman stuff. Ooh.
I've heard there's some first shots of like available for people to watch of the Hulk transformation too for Red Hulk. I neither of those things did I get a chance to check out.
I was working all day.
Space Case says I'm not in on the Absolute thing, and that's if it's one of those things where you're reading some of the other comics and you're just not into it or whatever. I totally get it.
Absolute All Star.
Yeah,
we combine them all. Ultimate Absolute All Star.
Oh, for the Christopher Reeve documentary.
Oh yeah.
So that's what you sent me.
Yeah. It is a tearjerker.
I got you, Jay. All right. And I will watch it. It's just I was like, I don't have time to watch a video, so I'll watch it later. And I'll probably a good thing I didn't watch it right before the show. So yeah,
Ron's coming in just like, hi guys.
We're gonna have a great show tonight. Kyle's on the show.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Can we go to like
Kyle's
commercial
fault.
already?
So yeah, hey, one last chance. This is your final reminder. Go enter hashtag Conan, like the barbarian
But
guy.
why? But why?
Because you can win free stuff.
What?
And now is your chance to do that. You got one final little chance I'm giving you here. 20 people are entered in that giveaway currently, which is awesome.
32 people watching and only 20 people are entered. We got some work
Something's
to
not
do.
adding up.
Right.
I'm
And they're going to
telling
get some other cool things, right?
Oh, you betcha.
Not
You betcha.
just that Conan book.
No, stickers, comics. Like I said, Psycho Phil shared earlier today on his show, on my Discord, the stuff he got from his package. So definitely worth checking out. Final thing I want to do before I do that is I've been really neglecting sharing the community artwork, and I have a few pictures that I don't think we've showed. I want to make sure I'm right about that first. While I'm bringing that up, I just want to tell everybody that if you are interested in having your artwork featured on our show, it's real easy. All you have to do is send it to us. I'm pretty sure I didn't save this, or I didn't show this. I mean, not save it. So I just opened the wrong program.
I was like, something just went boop.
Oh, that was somebody else. Let me open with Microsoft Photos here. No one cares about this, but it's how I have to open it. Okay, so I don't think I shared this yet. I'm sure here Bigby in 2 seconds will tell me I'm wrong. But I'm going to share this to show you guys some community artwork. So all you have to do...
You have shared it before. It doesn't hurt for people to see
it'll
it
be fine,
again.
right?
Yep.
But yeah, send us your artwork. Sicko, anybody out there, we'd love to see it. Yeah,
it doesn't matter your level of where you're at with stuff. I mean, you did not show that before.
Okay, perfect. So this is a piece of artwork from Roscoe. Geek Out with Roscoe. Go check out his channel. He's an awesome dude. Fantastic.
Roscoe, we hope your hands are feeling better. He had to cancel his show this week.
Is Between the Lines?
It's Between the Lines because he was having a flare up on his hand. So,
which is the stuff he's able to do and overcome. He does some great artwork. So
he is so inspiring to me. With just, I don't know if you guys have seen. You ever watch Roscoe draw? Just look at his hands. He's crippled up on his hands, and he still manages to draw these amazing things. And so it's just what he's overcome to do art is beyond words. It's amazing.
Oh, well, maybe we'll probably have it loaded up for next show if that's the case, CJ. Yeah, Huckleberry Badge. I love Roscoe stuff. Like he's got like a cartooning style to it that I really enjoy. Depending on his pieces, he does. Some of it's more cartoony and some of it's less cartoony. But when he does the cartoony stuff, I'm all in. So we also have Comics Limited, which is somebody who's helping out big time with Heroes for Heroes.
He's doing some shipping.
He's going to be doing some shipping, and I think he's going to be doing some artwork and some other stuff for us as well. We got him doing some giant size man thing here.
That's awesome. I love that piece.
Very cool.
Just
cool.
the abstract-y brush strokes, especially like the green flare behind Man Thing. I think that looks so cool.
Yeah. I think it's more. I want to say it's more Up meets Hulk there for me, but
Up. That was the kid with the merit badges.
But Trav, if you're watching on the rewind, hey, good job on this artwork. I really enjoyed seeing this one. This was really cool.
That was done for one of the CBCA nominees, Mon Comics.
Oh, nice. Yeah, Mon, great channel. Mon's a good. Yeah, definitely go check out. It's MON Comics. Go check them out.
Middle of nowhere.
There you go. And then we have Ben Taz. Ben Taz doing a really good variety, like a wide variety of artwork.
I got to meet Ben at Terrificon.
Nice.
Yes. He is very cool. I was talking to him for 5 minutes before I realized who he was, but I was like, "Wait, Ben!"
That Ben.
I'm like, "I
Uncle
know
Ben?
you from somewhere. Wait a minute." That's the same
That's
thing
awesome.
happened with Tessa as a nerd. I'm like,
Oh, cool.
I know you.
Right on. Yeah, I really enjoy Ben's stuff. It's again like a little bit like Roscoe. I never know what I'm going to get when I'm looking at it, and does like a good variety.
You
And
guys check him out on Instagram for sure.
oh yeah, for sure.
Go. What were you gonna say? You
I was going to say, I thought you were going to share more of your artwork, so I included one of my pieces.
Oh, I'm
in
sorry,
this.
but
No,
yeah,
it's okay. Now I
check
feel
out
bad
Ben
sharing it.
on Instagram. He does. He has his own graphic novel that he put out just as a exercise to show that he proved to himself that he could do it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, Comics Limited definitely does a good job.
yeah, Travis is super talented.
Yeah.
His color.
So yeah, here's my crappy art, which I'll just
dude,
from
that's
here
great.
briefly.
What are you talking about?
No, it's definitely something I wasn't super happy with this when it was done, but I was just trying to work on some shading and stuff like that, trying to match kind of some stuff that J. Scott Campbell did back in the day.
I see where you're going.
Yeah. So
you and me like you need to get together. So like what Travis and I will do is like or if you are interested in doing that kind of stuff, Travis and I will send pictures back and forth and we will draw on top of each other's like
oh nice.
tweak here, you know, like just with like a little, you know, little finger paint on top of it. Like
yeah.
And kind of like help each other work through like I'm not happy with this. What am I missing? You know? So
no, I definitely like all my stuff is and that's kind of it. Some of the proportions there were what I had a problem with when I did it. But hey, you know, it's I'm very much an amateur artist, so
you're working through it. You're getting better. Every time I see something of yours, it's better.
Thank you. I do appreciate that. And all the other support out there as well. It's I'll say this much: it's hard sharing your artwork when you don't think of yourself very highly as an artist. Let's put it that way. But if you want to have your artwork featured, all you got to do is send it to Big B, send it to me. We'll get it on the show for next week's show. We are going to do a giveaway at the end of the year based on the artwork. And we don't know exactly how we're going to do the voting yet. We're going to iron that out. We're going to have people vote on artwork that they like. We'll probably have a couple winners, not just one. We'll feature, like anybody who sent something in, we'll feature at least one of your pieces at the end of the year too, like the one we like the most or whatever. And then we'll feature the winners, and we'll kind of make that like a fun show at the end of the year where we give away possibly some original art from us. If you
I know Trav has volunteered to do something.
Yeah.
Too, so
absolutely. Yes, that was all digital, CJ. I've been working digitally a lot recently because it's given me a chance to experiment more and work over my mistakes more. I've done physical stuff. Like, actually, I don't know if you unboxed something yet, but you actually got a physical piece of artwork from me. So maybe that encourages you to unbox your stuff. Maybe you hated it. I don't know. But I know like John got a Batman piece for me. A lot of people from Heroes for Heroes that were the first wave of packages that went out. I did like little like backing board sketches for most of them, and John was a big winner, so I did like an 11 by 17 for him. I think
that's really cool.
Yeah,
we've got lots of stuff to do giveaway stuff, so it would be cool to do something for everybody involved.
Yeah, so send that artwork in. Speaking of giveaways, let's run our giveaway for the Conan trade paperback and Best Coast Comics prize package. I gave people plenty of chances, and I see no new entries, so I'm just going to run this. If you just in case there's like a few seconds you think you can get in, hashtag Conan is you see on the screen there.
You got to give them like 30 seconds after you say that.
Well, it's not quite. It's like 15 seconds, but
yeah,
it's
a little lag there. And by the way, while we're talking about that, while we're talking about that, Kyle had a little thing to say. I don't know if you saw that.
Oh, you know what? There we go. The portal for the free Vampirella one is working again on the EXP survey. So I'll paste that link in the chat here in a second, or maybe our producer Jay might be able to do it faster than I can. But there is that survey we talked about earlier for the EXP. If you want to go take a couple minutes and fill that out, we'd appreciate it, so we can kind of know what kind of content I mean, really, they can find out what kind of content that you guys want to see, and kind of some really specific questions I think that are good to get answers there. And you get a free Vampirella 1 from Christopher Priest. How awesome is that?
Yeah, win-win.
Yeah.
I think I have
Okay, I wasn't sure if you did. Okay.
Guide my fate.
All right, without further delay, let's go ahead and run this because people had a chance. We got Papa in there. That's all I wanted to see. So I'm running that right now. Good luck, everybody. Best of luck to all of you. Okay, I will post that link here after we're done too. Christina Payne. Awesome. I believe a nominated channel in the CBC Awards too. So I'm pretty sure if I'm wrong about that, I'm sorry. But if that is the case, hey, go give a little bit of a vote there, maybe if you want to. So congratulations, Christina. Now, Christina, I do need your shipping information. So if you want the prize package, go ahead and send me your shipping information so I can get that sent out to you. Last thing is, I'm really slow sometimes when it comes to sending out these prize packages. So please be aware of that. Sometimes it can take me a couple weeks because I'm gathering up free stuff to send. So just kind of be patient with that.
He's making your package all the better.
Exactly. Also, truth be told, I have a specific account where stuff like, shipping for these prize packages comes out of. The comic books I buy, I have a specific account that does all that stuff. Sometimes that account gets very low on balance. And so, all those things like memberships and super chats, I say this partially because we are gearing up for Heroes for Heroes. I'm going to have to buy shipping supplies. I'm going to have to ship sketches in from across the globe. That's right. So if you want to support the channel, that's another way to do it. I throw that out there for people. The super chats, the channel memberships, all that stuff helps support those causes. So, hey, well, congratulations. I'm glad you were here at the end of the show. That is so fantastic. And then here's the link, by the way, to the EXP survey one more time for those of us that are just now getting that and want a chance to go get that free Vampirella number 1. Big B, what do you got coming up on your channel or in your life? Anything we need to know about or follow?
I've been putting out a bunch of content for the Terrificon stuff that I filmed. So there's a new video that I put up last night at like midnight for the day one of just the walkthrough stuff. There's also a full rundown from Mr. Akins and myself talking about the night, the ending night of Terrificon. We sat down and we were like, okay, we're going to forget things. We're going to shoot a video right now. And so we did like an hour and a half going through all the books we got, all the interactions we had with people, and just made sure we documented everything before it. We're old.
It's
you got to overwrite that data.
I need my RAM.
Right.
Nice.
So, what do you got coming up?
Recently did a CGC unboxing. I'm working on editing the other video that's been the white whale of my life for the last few months. But I also will have a video coming out either probably late Wednesday or early Thursday. I'm going to have the Zero Ghost team on. That's Justin Jordan from, I know him as the writer for Luther Strode, and Brian Ching, who did a lot of awesome artwork for Star Wars. They're doing a Kickstarter with 24/7 Comics. So I'm going to have Carl, and I'm going to have the Nerdy Barbie on too, which is her name is Sarah. They're all going to be on doing a Reddit AMA interview. So they're going to answer all the questions in my video. We'll put that out, and that's going to link to a Reddit AMA that's going to get posted up tomorrow. Cool. So that video should come out either like late Wednesday or early Thursday. So I definitely recommend checking that out. We're going to get, hey, by the way, check the R Comic Book subreddit. There should be an AMA posted up there tomorrow. And so you can ask your questions that you might want to get answered on there. That's pretty cool. And yeah, that's the takeaway for the night. Congratulations.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. That's awesome.
Now he's too nice to say it, but what I'll say is go watch some of his videos, because if he gets some more watch time, he might actually get monetized, which, I can tell you it's not much, but hey, it does help. Every bit helps, right? If you're making this content already, it's nice to get a little bit of a pittance for doing it from YouTube. We appreciate that. And it can, make things like shipping out free comic book prize packages easier to do, right?
I was going to say, he gives me all the kudos without giving him graphic novels, but Bronze is paying for that postage. So,
well, hey, it's all about sharing the love of comics, which is something that we've talked about since day one when we started doing this show together. It's something we want to spread out there is the positivity, that kind of West Coast vibe. We call it the best coast. We're being a little cheeky when we say that. No matter what coast you're on, we appreciate you being here. And we hope you'll be here next week for another Best Coast Comics, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We want to see you. And if you have any show topics or things you want us to suggest after watching the show, leave them in the comments down below. Make sure you're subscribed over on the EXP Big B McFly, the Comic Book Guys channel. And if you want to go subscribe to me on the Bronze Age Nerds YouTube channel, I would appreciate that as well. Until next time, we'll see you in 1 week and hope you read comic books every day. Oh, I almost forgot to play our outro. So that's actually what's coming next. There we go.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.